Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And yeah, Cardano is currently going up a bit. Of course, it's not going up too much, but we are back at 95 cents and yeah, we are still going sideways at the end of the day. So nothing has really changed, and I actually want to talk about the second wave move down in this video because someone asked me to do that. So they asked me if the second wave move down is already in, and well, we do have an ABC structure to the downside, as you can see, and well, it could be in, but there is a chance, like I told you, that we form an ABC structure and we get to like 72.8 cents before we continue with the third wave of the third wave. Now, I don't know if that will happen or not. Keep in mind, we got to the oversold on the 4-hour chart many times, and I mean, we usually when we do this, for example, we did this right here a couple of months ago, and the fifth time we got to the oversold territory on the 4-hour chart, we just went to the upside, and as you can see, we went up like 300% here. And right now we went to the oversold territory like 4 times already, so there is a chance that we just do something like this extremely soon. Now, what would make us get another low and get to about 72.8 cents? Well, invalidating the 1-2 setup on the chart. And which one is the 1-2 setup? Well, it's this one right here. And to invalidate this, first we would need to break above this low right here, which is at about 82.8 cents. And if we break below this low, we will most likely, we will get another second wave down right here, another low for the second wave move down, this second wave. And I mean, if we do that, we might as well invalidate the whole structure and test the 0.32 extension. However, keep in mind, that's not my main scenario right now, because at the end of the day, in this 1-2 setup that we have on the chart right now, we respected support levels, and after we got to the 0.618 support level of the first wave move to the upside, the price went to the upside. As you can see, it actually got a bounce, and we went from about 83 cents all the way up to like $1.15. So yeah, we reacted to support and we are still respecting support. We did not invalidate this structure, but I mean, yeah, this is not the best looking structure for a third wave. However, we could get away with it if it's an ABC structure, and if it is that, then we should see a bounce very soon, and that should put the price at about $1.30 for the third wave, and then we could get a fourth wave and a fifth wave move up. And once we do that, I will be able to confirm that the second wave move down right here is actually in, and that this was actually an ABC structure, and I will also be able to confirm that the third wave of the main third wave has started, and these 5 waves will only complete the first wave of that third wave, which means that after we get to, let's say, about $1.50, maybe even less, maybe like $1.40, after we get to that level and we form 5 waves, we will most likely get a correction, which will be an ABC structure, and that will be the second wave move of the third wave of the third wave. And what comes after that? Well, it's a third wave of a third wave of a third wave, and that's always the most impulsive move of the cycle. And it would make sense to do that because I'm still expecting Bitcoin dominance to go down. Now, I've been talking about Bitcoin dominance for a very long time now, and I think you already know my opinion about it, so I'm just gonna repeat myself because there's nothing to talk about. And if you do not watch my previous videos, then maybe you have something to learn here. And I mean, yeah, Bitcoin dominance, it's at about, let's say, 59.2% right now. We are still above the bull market support band, but keep in mind, we had a cross on the bull market support band, and I'm tired of talking about this, but at some point we will have to break down because we broke down every single cycle after we did this. As you can see here in the previous cycle, we actually broke down about 48 days after the cross, and in the cycle before that, it's the exact same thing. We had a cross, and 47 days later, or 48 days later, we had a cross on the bull market support band, and that triggered the altcoin season. Now, I did talk about a different scenario in my other videos, and what is that scenario? Well, that scenario is that Bitcoin dominance just continues going sideways until March, and I don't really like the idea of that. I don't really like the sound of that, but it could be a possibility, and I mean, that's my worst case scenario for this cycle. Now, why am I saying March? Well, if we would take a look at when the altcoin season actually started in the previous 2 cycles, it actually started in March, and I mean, it started in March in 2021, and it started in March in 2017. So, there is a chance that we just do absolutely nothing until March, or at least until the end of February. Now, I don't know if that will happen or not, because I don't know if you can remember what I said in my previous videos, but in this cycle, the Bitcoin halving happened about 2 months earlier than it did in the previous cycle. So maybe in this cycle, I mean, it would only make sense to get an altcoin season 2 months earlier than the one we got in the previous cycle if the halving happened 2 months earlier than this cycle. But maybe we don't do that, and maybe it's not gonna work like that. Maybe we are just about to go sideways until March, and I'm not a fan of that, but it is a possibility. Now keep in mind, and this is only about Cardano right now, in the previous cycle, when Bitcoin dominance went sideways for the entire month of February and even March, if you look at what Cardano was doing during that time, Cardano was actually going insane, and during that time, during February and during March, Cardano went from about 39 cents all the way up to about $1.50, even though Bitcoin dominance was going sideways. So this shows us that Bitcoin dominance can go sideways and Cardano can actually go up during that time. However, keep in mind, during this time right here, Cardano was at a much lower market cap. But that's not really, concerning, because right now Bitcoin is at about $100,000, and I believe back here when Cardano was at about 40 cents, Bitcoin was at about $40,000, maybe more, maybe less. So yeah, we are still not doing too bad right now, and we could start going up in February, no matter if Bitcoin dominance goes down or not. Now, of course, I mean, here, for example, in November, when Cardano did go up about 300% in a matter of a few weeks, Bitcoin dominance dropped during this time. So, it's really hard to say what will happen next, but if we are following what we did in the previous cycle, then Cardano should get a pump in February. And I mean, if you take a look at how much Cardano went up in the previous cycle in February, it actually went up quite a lot. So let's take February 1st, and let's see if we take the end of the month, which was February 28th, as you can see, during February it went up another 320% after already going up quite a lot in January and in November, and also it went sideways in December. And what did we do in this cycle? Well, we went up in November like we did right here, but in this cycle we actually went up like 300% in November. In the previous cycle we went up only 100%. Then we went sideways in December, just like we did in the previous cycle. And right now we are in January and we are not really going up like we did in the previous cycle, but like I told you, this makes sense because at the end of the day, in this cycle, this 1-2 setup of the main third wave was way more impulsive than what we had in the previous cycle. So of course the January pump will not really, be as bullish as the one we got in the previous cycle, but that does not mean that the February pump is not allowed to happen. So we should get a pump in February, and if we do not, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to say where Cardano will be at the end of the year. And of course we don't have to copy exactly what we did in the previous cycle, but so far we have been doing exactly that. So if we want to copy what we did in the previous cycle, we should be at the previous all-time highs by the end of next month. And I know that sounds insane, it probably sounds ridiculous, but I think it is possible if Cardano starts doing something like XRP did. And I mean, XRP did it, and it went sideways like 7 years before that. So could Cardano get a random pump all of a sudden? Well, I think it can, and I don't think it will, because that's not financial advice after all, but I think it has a chance to do it, because at the end of the day we are still respecting support levels, and we are still in a third wave right now, and it's only getting started because we only have a 1-2 setup of that third wave. And I mean, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe that Cardano will go higher by the end of the year, I mean, I'm the same person who, told you that Cardano will most likely recover when it was down here. And what do you know? It recovered, and it recovered after we had a cross on the bull market support band. And right now we are still above the red line with the green line on the bull market support band, and that's really bullish. However, like I told you many times, we kind of have to get an impulsive move to the upside, because if we do not, the red line of the bull market support band will catch up with the green line and we will get a cross on the bull market support band, and we don't really want to see that, because I mean the last time we had that was up here, well actually down here, after Cardano finished the first wave move to the upside, and as you can see after that we just went down for about 6 months. So we don't really want to see a cross right now. We did not get a cross in the previous cycle during the third wave. As you can see, I mean after we had the cross right here after the 1-2 setup on the chart, after the 1-2 setup of the third wave, we did not have a cross for the entirety of the third wave. So if we want to copy what we did right here, we should not get a cross, and like I said, to not get a cross, we have to get a very impulsive move to the upside extremely soon. And you know, if we are not at all-time highs by the end of next month, then it's very likely that we do get a cross and Cardano just starts going up later in the year rather than right now. But you know, it's still ahead of schedule, no matter if you want to, you know, believe it or not. I mean, exactly 4 years ago, Cardano was at about 30 cents and we were still down like 70% from the previous 2018 all-time high. Right now, Cardano is at about 96 cents, which is triple the price it was exactly 4 years ago, and we are down like 60% from the previous all-time high. So we're still doing better than we were doing in the previous cycle, and yeah, I mean there's nothing to complain about, at least not right now. We are respecting support zones, and yeah, right now what we need to focus on is getting above the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high. This is a very important level because we got rejected by that extension like 6 times already. But I think that once we manage to get back above it, the road to new all-time highs should be extremely quick, like it was right here in the previous cycle. As you can see here, it was also kind of difficult to get above the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high, but once we got above that, I mean, the price just went insane. So I think it's possible that we do the exact same thing again, but we'll see if that happens or not. And that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.